Hello, and welcome to How We Live Online. I'm Joanna,
I'm Christina.
and today
Today we're talking about
we're talking Bratz.
Bratz today.
It's our internet cafe, and the topic is the new Bratz video game. Christina, how long have you been playing the game for?
Okay, so Joanna pulled a prank on me last night. I would like to preface this episode with also don't tell any of the gaming places that I might apply to. Don't send them this episode, okay? Because if I apply to be a video game lore writer, I have to pretend like I know everything about video games, which
Can
I
I just say
don't.
also that that's a great idea?
It's Joanna's idea.
It's an amazing idea.
It's a really good idea. They get paid so much,
Yes, and
and
it's
you're
so
on like a
fun.
narrative team.
Yeah, I feel like the medium of video game is such a good storytelling medium. Like you should play more video games. Not like any video game, but like there are a lot of good video games that are like great stories, you know?
Yeah, I also think that it's the most commercial and money-making narrative form right now.
Hmm.
So if I want to make money with my MFA, which is, look, I can't even get into it. Anyway, don't send this to the metaverse. I'm not applying to the metaverse. I feel like that would be too hypocritical of me. But anyway, I don't play games. Famously, that was the cat running. I don't play games. I I also famously love the Bratz dolls. What? I don't even know what I'm saying. Oh, how long have I been playing this game? I bought this game maybe a month ago. I don't play it every day, and when I play it, wait,
Hmm.
was it a month ago?
No, I feel like it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I've been really wrong about time recently. It's been a couple weeks,
Yeah.
probably. I don't know. I don't play it every day, and I don't play it for very long. I haven't beaten the game. I know that like when I've watched videos of people talking about the game, they're like, "Oh, I beat it in a night." I'm like, "How? Like, were you just playing all night, or am I really bad and slow?" Anyway, so I texted Joanna last night. I want to go to Barcelona, which is a moment in the game before we do the pod. So let's record tomorrow. And then Joanna texted me and was like, "You haven't been to Barcelona yet?" And I immediately, it's like when when you're on your phone, you're waiting for someone to text back. That's how I received that text message. And I was just so like, fuck, like, oh my God, I had this feeling that I was doing it wrong. And I texted her back and I was like, no, are you serious? Like, don't make fun of me. I'm so bad at games. I didn't realize. And then she was like, no, I haven't been to Barcelona yet because you just got the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, shit, I've had this game for weeks and haven't been to Barcelona. And
Yeah.
Joanna's already in Barcelona.
Well, no, I got to Barcelona, but I just
Okay.
was kidding about like, oh my God, you haven't gotten there yet. Like,
No, okay. So I had a feeling that you did, even though you were saying, like, oh, I'm kidding. So you have been to Barcelona.
yeah. Well, I wasn't saying that I hadn't been there, but I was kidding about the fact that it would have been crazy that you hadn't gotten there yet.
I'm embarrassed all over again.
Don't be
I
embarrassed.
feel like I should be farther in this game than Joanna. I've had it for so long.
But it's like you said, you haven't been playing it for that long. And plus, there's a lot, like, I think playing the game and thinking about talking about it with you after has made me think a lot about like just the conventions of games that people who play games know that
Yeah.
people who don't play games just don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and there's like learning that you would have to do in playing a game that I wouldn't have to do because I've played games, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Can you explain how the game works?
Yes. Actually, I need to look this up. What is the name of the game actually?
It's Bratz.
No, but it's Bratz Flaunt Your Fashion. Because there
Right.
are many Bratz video games. This is
Yeah.
the first one for the Nintendo Switch, and I think it's on other consoles too. But basically, the premise of the game, you know, there are a few, if you're an experienced person in the Bratz universe, you know, we have a few motifs One is the Bratz magazine. This
Mm-hmm.
is a lot in the Bratz universe.
Mm-hmm. They're journalistas
Yes.
and fashionistas.
And fashionistas. Well, that was going to be the last motif, obviously, their passion for fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the Bratz as masters of every skill, right? They're great dancers, they're
Mm-hmm.
great singers,
Mm-hmm.
they're amazing athletes. They're all around just like perfect, and they're always the winners of everything because they have that gratitude.
Yeah.
So in this game, basically where the goal is we're working on the magazine. Okay, and the magazine's already established. And essentially how the gameplay works is that we go on different quests and we're trying to get style points to get followers. And I guess the ultimate goal is to get the most followers at the end. I'm not really sure, but throughout the game, you unlock different worlds. So like the first world you unlock is you get to go to Barcelona. And then there are, I think, at least 2 other worlds that you unlock later on. And also this review is going to have spoilers for the game, just so you know.
Do people care about spoilers for games?
Yeah, if you're going to play the game and you
spent your money on the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been to Barcelona so far.
Yeah, I've also only been to Barcelona.
Why aren't you saying I like Barcelona with me? I think it's funny.
I think it's funny, but I think like once was funny.
I can't stop. I'm never gonna stop.
Okay. Good. Okay. So how should we structure this? Do you want to do like first impressions?
Okay, I've been listening to so much Game of Roses that when you say first impressions, I'm like Fimp first impression rose.
Oh.
No. Yeah, we can start with that. Yeah. Okay, so look, me and Bratz and me. I love the Bratz. I had Bratz dolls. I always wanted the Bratz head that you could do a makeover on, like the little like mannequin head. My BFF when I was little had it. Loved it. I love the Rock Angels. I think those were probably my favorite outfits. And that's important because they are fashionistas. So I also had some VHS tape of a movie, and I don't remember what the movie was about, but I remember Ethan, and it was a cartoon version of Bratz. I remember like Ethan's car broke down or someone's car broke down. It was drama, but there was also kind of a love story, I think. I don't know what the movie was. And then I posted about this on the How We Live Online Instagram, actually, when we were talking about like physical media, the story that I will share now about going to Blockbuster and desperately wanting the live action Bratz movie. And the way that my parents talked about renting movies, I thought they were like $200. Like I thought that it was so expensive and a huge problem if I wanted to rent a movie. And it had just came out, which means that you couldn't rent it. You could only buy it for a certain amount of time from Blockbuster. And I was with my dad, jackpot, with my dad, not my mom. I'm like, Dad, please, please, can I please have this Bratz movie? I was like clutching it in my hands, walking around Blockbuster, like, I don't know what he's gonna say. Oh my God. I go up to him because he's finally at the counter, and the counter is like a foot taller than me. And it just felt like this very intense moment. And I was like, please, can I please have this movie? I didn't realize that you had to buy it. I thought you could rent it at this point, but now I know that because it was right after the movie came out, could only buy it. So I'm shaking. I'm sweating if I had any sweat glands to sweat, but I was so little, I probably wasn't sweating. I'm like, Dad, please. And he just like takes it and tosses it on the counter and buys it. And I was like, oh my God. And then I had this overwhelming feeling of guilt about that movie for years. Like I had to watch it over and over and over again to make it worth it. Punishing myself, except not really because I got to watch the movie a lot. No one cared as much as me. He just bought it. I don't know. So I have a weird like
There's some shame wrapped up in there.
There's some shame. There's some feelings about like money, shame, familial relationships, all wrapped up in my experience with Bratz.
I have a question for you because I was just thinking about this. I also was like a fan of the Bratz in many mediums. I had the dolls. I watched different of the movies, and I think I played some of the games. Though when I look at the games, they're not familiar to me, so maybe I at least watched other people play the games.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like the computer games?
yeah, computer, DS, Game Boy, GameCube, the Bratz had games for everything, even PS2. Those are the most popular ones for the games on the PlayStation. I was thinking about, because obviously the Bratz is positioned against Barbie a lot. Like, like even I was saying to some of my coworkers that I was playing this Bratz game, and they were like, "Oh, Bratz, aren't those the slutty Barbies?"
That's racist.
It is racist, and also, I like didn't. I had Barbie dolls, I think, but I didn't like transcend into any of the other mediums with Barbies. Like, I don't have any memories of watching any Barbie movies, which I know a lot of people are like fond of those, or Barbie video games. So I was just curious if you.
Yeah, I was a Barbie girl too. I loved them both. I did not pit them against each other, though at the time of playing them, the early 2000s, it was still in conversation, right? We also had MySpace dolls. I was like, why is there no hype about these MySpace dolls? Like, I love them. They're Barbie and Bratz combined, like the way that they look.
There were a lot of different dolls.
Yeah, but like Barbie and Bratz, I guess, were the two big ones. But MySpace
And Polly
dolls,
Pocket was the small one.
yes, and Polly Pocket, that was different. Have you seen the jokes on the internet about eating their clothing, about like chewing on their clothes?
Yeah, I have, I think.
Everyone's like teething.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, we're not talking about them today. Yeah, I loved Barbie. My really good friend had so many Barbies, and she had all the Barbie movies, and her mom did not let us play with the Barbies and then leave them unclothed, which is a fun thing to do. Like, you're like, naked Barbie time, haha, it's hilarious. Like, and she would come in and be like, you have to put the clothes back on the Barbies right now. And we were like, okay, God. Anyway, no, I loved Barbie, but I think Bratz was more fun. Like, they had, as you said, all these other things going on. Barbie was like, she was Barbie. She was herself. She had a man and she had a little sister, but she did not have friends really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just who Barbie is, right? She's the girl. She's the it girl. She can do everything, jack of all trades. But there was like less like silliness and fun. Like, I feel like there was a lot of like domestic versions of Barbie. Like, I remember I got a Valentine Barbie with like a sheet of cookies that she made, and she was in like a cooking baking outfit.
She's also
From
professional.
Yeah, she's more professional. And then the Bratz are like, because I also think that Barbie is an adult. And I think that the Bratz are like,
That's her in high school.
yeah. So they're like a little crazier, and they had more like, I think, punk influence in their fashion. Whereas Barbie was very preppy and always like on trend of the time. Like, if you saw her in like an 80s outfit, she was in an 80s prom dress, or she was in an 80s like workout outfit that you would wear to like a decades party. But there was no like Barbie in the 90s was punk, or like Barbie in the 90s was, I loved Nirvana or something. Like, she was always very put together, more on trend.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. The movies are good. The best movies are the best movie to me, sentimentally, Swan Lake. I need to see Swan Lake at like a ballet performance of Swan Lake, like deeply in my soul. I need to see that. I have never seen that. I also love Princess and the Pauper. That one, Joanna, if you're gonna watch any Bratz movie, oh, sorry, any Barbie movie, watch Princess and the Pauper.
I don't know if I will be.
Why won't you watch it, Joanna? You're gonna love it.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, you got it. It's Princess and the Pauper.
I know. I think the thing about like the reason I can play this Bratz game and like watch Bratz movies is because I have a nostalgia for it. But Barbie is I actually no, that's such a lie. I played one Barbie video game that I was honestly looking for an emulator for recently, and it was like a wedding video game that I would play.
You
But
played a Barbie wedding video game?
yes, it was like
Very
Barbie.
off-brand for Joanna. Princess and the Pauper.
Yes, okay, I get it. But what kind of games do they let little girls play? Wedding games. One of the only genres for us.
Well, didn't you play the Zack and Cody game?
I don't think I played it, but I know my cousin probably did. But anyways, yeah, the only reason I can do this is because I have a nostalgia for it, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't know if I'm into it. So I will take the note of watching The Princess and the Pauper, but it's not skyrocketing to the top of the list for me.
Two ideas just came from my brain from what you said. One, we should do edibles and watch Princess and the Pauper. Two, someone should rewrite Princess and the Pauper about poppers.
Oh,
Next.
all right. Nice. Okay. So shall we talk about our first impressions? Did we do that yet, even?
Oh no, I was just like talking about my childhood with the Bratz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I don't. So I got this Switch, right? Switch Lite. It's pink. I got a glittery case. And I was playing this one like $15 game that I don't know gaming terms, but you know how like Super Mario, like you just like run on a platform and you like jump and you kill things. That was basically what I was playing. And that's fun. I feel like I can do that for longer because it's more like da 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 da. The Bratz is like more, I feel like, about the world and like what it looks like and changing your clothes and like changing your avatar and stuff. Your Bratz, I was Yasmin. She's my fave. And I really enjoyed it. It's a very different kind of gameplay than what I had been doing. And I think that's why I can't do it for so long because, or it just feels very slow to me.
Yeah, it does play very slow. There's a lot of I mean, the game is mostly going from place to place, like actually to move the story forward. And there's a lot of time consuming animation and cut sequences.
Yeah, and I kept having to remind myself that this is a game for little kids.
It is so like, yeah, that was my biggest first impression was that like it's very easy for children, but also I was wondering like, is it really for children? Because, well, I guess children aren't leaving reviews, but I think a lot of people do play the games for nostalgia. So I'm wondering if, like, really, the game is for children, but are children the main people who bought it? Is my question.
Yeah, I'm curious if kids are still super into Bratz. I really don't know. I don't know any little kids right now. But yeah, it's kind of the same thing as like there was going to be a Lizzie McGuire reboot, and the only people who would give a shit about a Lizzie McGuire reboot are you and me and like adults.
Mhm.
And they were like the production was set to still be on Disney and like be G rated. And I think Hilary Duff was like really pushing for like this is for an adult audience, and then they ended up pulling the plug on the whole thing
Oh, yeah.
because it's a question of audience, right? And then iCarly, which I don't have Peacock or whatever it's on, is doing that and like doing well, as far
Yeah.
as I know. Like it's about sorry. Oh yeah, you watched it.
I watched like one or two of the new iCarly, which is on Paramount. And yeah, maybe if I was someone who liked TV more or liked iCarly more, I would watch it. But
Is it for like adults?
yeah, it definitely was like not, I mean, at least more like PG-13 than the old iCarly was.
Yeah. So it's a game where everything is really over explained
Yeah,
through the dialogue, and there isn't much going on, honestly. It's a lot of running back and forth.
yeah, which are like, I think the term for that is fetch missions, where you go and like,
Oh,
as opposed to like a puzzle or something else. Like, yeah, literally a lot of sometimes the mission is literally like go run and talk to this person and then go run and tell the other person that you talked to them.
yeah, damn, that's the whole fucking game. It really is. It's
Yes.
literally all fetch missions.
I'm not sure what the other game you were playing was, Christina, but I think the graphics on this game are terrible, which is honestly a big blow because the Bratz like are so visually interesting. And I think it was a big missed opportunity. Like you can tell it's a low budget game from like the animation and the graphics. Like I'm sure it's expensive to really do justice to like the Bratz hair and like the way that they move and their clothes, but like it really does not look anything like how a lot of $40 games look these days. Like it looks like it was probably made like 10 years ago. Like it looks a lot like the older Bratz games, which were made 20 years ago. um
Oh, yeah, I mean, I just don't know anything about any of that.
I mean,
But
like it doesn't look like a movie, right? Like video games these days can look like movies, and it doesn't look anything like that.
yeah, I was curious if it was like my console because I feel like because I remember reading that the Switch Lite doesn't give you, wait, no, maybe it was a review of a game. I don't know. I think also I haven't purchased any like expensive games, so I just don't know what like it's supposed to really look like on my screen, but I have the cheaper version of a Switch, so I was like, maybe this is like a console issue and not like, the
Yeah,
game.
no, I think it's just the game.
Yeah. Something that you can do in this game is take selfies all the time.
But what happens with the selfie? That's my question. I think so. I'll go to my missed opportunities section of my notes. One, the social media in general. So they have the whole point of the game is that you have a magazine and that you publish things to get more followers. But when you go to publish things on the computer, it's like a total black box. And essentially you have one type of point, your style points converted into followers, which I think is silly because why do you need those two different types of points if one is just always going to convert to the other? Um, but also it's such a missed opportunity, I think, to actually like choose which selfies to publish or what words or what title am I picking that could influence the number of followers I'm getting. As it goes right now, it's like that's the whole big point of the game, but I think it's a complete missed opportunity because right, like taking selfies is such a big part of the game, but nothing happens with them. You just take them.
Yeah, you just take them, and as soon as you take them, you get like style points and likes, or no, you get style
Yeah.
points and some money, which like doesn't make sense why you would get money if you haven't posted them yet, and then you
Right.
have to go back to your apartment to your computer to post your selfie or to upload an article, which like presumably if you have your phone, like you could do both of those things on the go. You don't have to keep going back to the apartment. And you don't see anything other than points loading and your Bratz doll sitting at her desktop when that happens. Like, yeah, you're right. There should be a choosing situation. And even like you shouldn't even, because it's for kids, you wouldn't like write in what your caption is, but you can like choose like hashtag beach time
Mhm.
or hashtag if it's about building a brand, which seemingly that's what it is, masked by a magazine, like make that more the goal, you know?
Yeah.
Or like I feel like there could be so much more like investigative magazine journalism happening. Like it seems like they just go places, photograph it, and post it.
Yeah. Or even like you should like right now I don't think that there's any consequences to any choice you make. Like all of the different options for all the stories are always available to you. But what if, you had to choose to pursue one article or another, and that unfolds a series of events depending on which one you pick, and one is, a slightly better option than the other, or whatever.
Yeah, which is a thing in journalism. Like you have, if you're posting certain amounts of articles a day, like you have to make decisions like that.
Mhm.
Maybe it does all come down to like who's the youngest person that can play this game. I don't know. Because that is a lot of choices, but I don't know what really little kids are playing.
Right. And even when you say like, oh, you shouldn't be able to type things in because you're a little kid, like I definitely played games when I was a kid where you could type things in. And I don't know how much effect it actually had that you could type things in, but
Yeah.
like I think, like I said earlier, if you're someone who plays games, like if you're a kid who plays games, you know conventions of the game and you can like type things in depending on how
Yeah.
old you are.
I know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, what is there? What? I don't, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know the conventions of the games. I don't know, like, what little kids are capable of in gaming. And I do think this game is kind of boring.
It is boring, yes.
Yeah.
Um, I also
And I
think,
thought, like, oh, if it's all like kind of boring, like there should be more like fashion stuff happening.
right, yeah, to another missed opportunity I have.
Okay.
More effective fashion slash more fashion in general. So as we've said, we've only been to Barcelona so far, but the clothing store in Barcelona is the same brand as it is in Stylesville, California, where the game begins. Um, and I mean, they definitely have different clothes, but I think it's sort of a missed opportunity to have more different fashion. Plus, there's no real scarcity of money in the game. So you could buy everything in all the stores and not really ever have to make a choice about, oh, do I want this or this? And then there's no consequences based on what fashion you pick. Or really any chance to flaunt your fashion except in selfies, which don't even show your whole body.
You can turn the camera around, but then this is a big problem I have with this game. Okay. If you're taking a photo, you can only take photos in a shooting spot. You can't just decide when you want to take a picture. And you're either taking an arm stretched out selfie or you flip the camera and you're taking a picture of your surroundings. The surroundings that they allow you to photograph are not interesting. Like
Yeah.
that is not a photo that would do well. It's like a wall in the Strut store with like a couple bags on it and Jade's like shoulder or something. Like it's not an interesting photo. And that's dumb. Like, firstly, you should be able to take a picture whenever you want, and you should also be able to have a self timer
Mm-hmm.
so that you can like launch your fashion
Yeah.
and be an influencer. I think what it is like they don't want to they don't want to say that this game is about influencing, so they attach the magazine to it, and then don't lean far enough into the magazine. Like they don't do investigative journalism, they don't have a photographer, they don't have like more interviews or anything. They focus more on like brand building slash influencing, but I think like no one wants to say that's what this game is about. And then they don't even lean all the way into that.
Yeah.
Like if that's what you're doing, like give the Bratz a vlog camera, give the Bratz um a self timer and a tripod, give them like more things to do. Give them like a fucking like make up an app that's like TikTok and make me like learn a dance.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's more fun. I did do a dance on the stage
Yeah.
during the talent show. There are some things like that. And there are like moments where you have to like go change your outfit so that you get more points if you're like in this photo shoot in the right outfit. you know.
Mhm. I think to me, I was reading it more as like, because like the Bratz magazine is a big part of a lot of Bratz games, like the Bratz Rock Angels. And I think which is, I think, the most popular Bratz game based off the movie. They did I think, a better job of setting up the magazine in that game, because the whole impetus is that Jade tries to work at a different magazine that has the villains. I forget their names right now, but
Yeah, I
the
forget.
blonde girls. And
There's no villains in this
yeah, there's
game.
no villains in this game, first off. But yeah, so she tries to work at Your Thing, I think it's called, and she gets fired on the first day. So then the Bratz make their own magazine. And so the whole game is about building the magazine from scratch, right? And against the villains. And
Maybe
then
it's like they don't want to have like pitting women against each other moments in this game, but it's like that's a story structure. Like make a foil to the Bratz, like
I
give
would
the
say, like,
Bratz
yeah,
and villain. Yeah.
I don't think like it's even any of like they are like seeing, like, not going after different things. What am I saying? To me, I'm not reading the situation as like they don't want it to be about influencers, or they don't want it to be about women versus women. I think they simply did not have much money to make this game, and they didn't put that much time and effort into it, and they didn't think about how they could really make it a good game. They just, I mean, Bratz is like a cash cow. So they put in this money that they did, and they knew people were going to buy the game no matter what.
They got me. Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about Bratz Rock Angels too, I went through some of the Steam reviews of the game, and I was reminded that in Bratz Rock Angels, there's a few comparisons to the other games. You could actually like draw on the makeup that the Bratz was having. Like, you don't just, like, in this game, you just pick like, oh, this pink blush pattern, or like this eyeshadow, whatever. But in previous games, you could actually draw on the makeup. So that is, less for us to do in this new game. A lot of people were talking about the background songs, because as we stated earlier, the Bratz are famous for being multi-talented, including singers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the background songs in the games have been a big part, just the songs in general of the brand of Bratz. And people were saying that they didn't like the background music of this game as much. And I kind of agree. I played a lot of the game on mute, but then I did also play a little bit with the songs just to kind of get a feel for it. And I would say that's a big missed opportunity too.
Do the songs have lyrics?
No. So in other
Okay.
games, like the Bratz have songs with lyrics, right? But these don't have lyrics, and they're not as like moody, I would say, as normal Bratz. Like, it's a lot more like upbeat. I don't know how to describe music, but it didn't do it for me. Also, some other things that people were comparing to older versions of the games: there's no accessories other than sunglasses and hats. Like, there's no necklaces, no bracelets, no earrings.
This is like breaking my heart.
I know, it's sad. You can't adopt pets. Like, we see pets, but you can't actually adopt them. And that kind of made me think of another thing that I was personally missing, was that, like, and I also, like I said, spoiler for the end of the game. I thought that more stores were going to open up in the mall as the game goes on, right? Because so many of the stores just say closed on them. But no, there are only 3 types of stores we can go in the game, which are Strut It, the clothing store, then there's like a beauty and hair store, and then the tech store, and that's it. Which I think is a missed opportunity. Like, at least after you've been to all the worlds, right? Why can't I go get a hamburger from the hamburger store, or a coffee from the coffee store, just for fun? But no, things like that don't happen.
Like imagine the screen grabs and like everything if you could be a Bratz doll with an iced coffee. Like that would make me giggle to myself and I would take a screenshot or something of it. Like yeah. You're right. Joanna's opening my mind. I was just playing the game like, okay, I don't really like this game, but I didn't realize why.
I'd like to read one of my favorite reviews that I saw on Steam. And this is Ethan, who so a lot of people noticed a noticeable absence of Cameron in this game. Cameron is usually, I would say, in my experience, one of two main Bratz boys, Dylan and Cameron, who are BFFs. And Ethan does appear sometimes, but he had like the absence of Cameron completely in this game is noticed by fans.
Mm-hmm.
And people also noticed that his storyline doesn't make sense because he's introduced very early in the game as not knowing the Bratz and just being, oh, you're Ethan from the smoothie bar. But then he travels the world with them.
Right. Okay, wait. So there are two boys in the game. There's Ethan and Dylan.
Mhm.
Is Dylan the white guy with the brown hair?
No, that's Ethan.
Dylan's the black guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So Dylan's always been in them.
Yeah, Dylan and
Okay.
Cameron are the two.
Okay. Okay, then I was thinking of Cameron
Yeah.
as the wait.
Cameron is Yasmin's love interest for the
He's
most part.
blonde?
He's like brownish blonde hair, I would say. Like
Blonde.
30.
Okay, so Cameron blonde not in the game.
Yeah.
Dylan black guy who's usually in the games in
Yeah.
the lore. Okay. And then Ethan is the smoothie guy who has like a faux hawk situation.
Yes.
Okay. And he is white and he gets sunburned in Barcelona.
Yeah, he does.
That's mainly what happens with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But I have to read this review from Nana Nima, which talks about Ethan's storyline. I'd like to comment on a quest in the game that threw me off, but may not be a big deal to other people. Ethan is hiding a very common allergy ingredient as a secret in his recipe. It makes him look like an assassin. So nobody has allergies in this universe? I feel like they should be reporting him to the police or health department or something instead of acting like nothing's wrong. And this comes from very early in the game. One of the first quests you go on is to retrieve ingredients for a smoothie that Ethan makes, which are oranges and cashews, which one sounds like a kind of gross smoothie, but that's what this one was.
I didn't do that quest.
You didn't do the smoothie quest?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Or I just don't remember it. I feel like I would have remembered oranges and cashews.
Yeah. It's one of like the first things. One
Okay.
of the first quests.
Maybe I was high.
Maybe.
And I'm not kidding. Maybe I just actually was and I don't remember. But okay. Why does the Smoothie King come to Barcelona?
I don't know.
Just to get sunburned.
Yeah, I don't know. It does not make sense.
And also Dylan isn't doing anything.
Yeah, he's not, he also isn't really friends with them in the beginning, but then they go on the trip with them.
Like, I feel like Cameron was usually like the guy, and then Dylan was like kind of his sidekick man.
Yeah.
And like Dylan, even though he is like canonically one of the Bratz men, is still in this version the sidekick. When you would think that Ethan would be the sidekick since he's new.
Yeah.
Where's Cameron?
Yeah, where is Cameron? I'm not sure if Dylan gets a bigger role in like the later stages of the game that we haven't been to yet.
Sam. I know the boys could really show out. Like, we could dress the boys.
Yeah, but we can't.
There's a lot wrong with this.
There is. If I may present one other review.
Yeah.
By Safi, who has reviewed 8 games on Steam. Safi just posted the beginning of So Good by the Bratz Rock Angels. I don't know if you know that song.
No.
Probably one of my favorite Bratz songs. It's We Know How to Dare, We Know How to Dream, Tonight is the Night. That one?
No.
She posted the first verse and the chorus. That was her review.
Okay.
And people found that helpful.
You know, it's sad.
Yeah. I don't mean to like rain on your parade.
No, like I didn't love the game, you know. I wasn't playing it all the time. I was just like, oh, I'll like play this for now. And then
Yeah.
I get bored of it and I put it down.
I think though that we should review more games if the listeners have any games that they want us to review.
Yeah.
As the
I
sponsor is purchasing them.
I think that we should review Joanna. Okay. I'm like traumatized, lowercase t traumatized by coming downstairs into my basement when I was little and watching my brother play GTA. And there was like, I swear to God, a prostitute like hanging from a ceiling or something, like, or and then like watching like women get hit by cars or whatever. But I was also fascinated,
Mhm.
traumatized, fascinated. And I don't know who designed the new GTA cover, but it's
Mhm.
intriguing me. It makes me want to play the game.
What number GTA are they on? 7, 8?
Probably around that. I think over 5.
6?
Because I think there hadn't been a
Yeah,
GTA
6.
out for a long time. But also, I read this really,
Mhm.
really good essay a while ago about a guy's like cocaine addiction and his addiction to playing GTA. And one of the best
Mm.
essays I've ever read. Okay, it's an essay in The Guardian. It's called Video Games, The Addiction, and it's by Tom Bissell, and he talks about a period in his life when he was like on cocaine and playing that game all the time. And it made me want to play. I think we should play like a shooting game.
I think I should pick which game we play because you picked this game.
Okay. What kind of game?
Um, a game I want to play because you just picked a game you want to play.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Okay, well, can I show you the cover? I don't know why I just like this is so embarrassing. I don't know why. It's just like three. I think it's because it kind of reminds me of Spring Breakers. It's just like three hot women looking
Oh,
like kind of disheveled. All right, well, what game do you want to play? Do you know yet?
this is the kind of game I'm thinking I want to pick is like an actual good game that like will make you want to play more games. I want to pick something funny. I want to pick like an actual good game, like an award-winning game.
Thanks for listening to our review of the Bratz game on the Switch. Bye.
Bye.
Passion for fashion. Dun, 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 dun.